Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to do the character review for Hell Joe. I'm going to go over the usual points, so I'm going to talk about how good this unit is, then we're going to look at the skills, revolution, equipment, gear, ignition weapon, rapport, and finally some team recommendations. I'm going to start straight away with the first point. So how good is Hell Joe? I would say Hell Joe is the best purple DPS unit we have in the game. He has an higher damage ceiling than White and also higher than Machiny, so really good damage. He also has nice utility because he has a defense decrease and a swiftness decrease. So his value, even if we end up getting a different purple DPS, could still be acceptable. I would say that his survivability is pretty bad, is really trash, even though his kit seems to say otherwise, but no. He's actually very, very squishy for some reason, so not really too insane for that. If he had also good survivability, then it would be an insane unit, but he's just fine. I mean, he's decent, he's great, but he's not an insane unit. It's just the best we have in purple, but that's just whatever. I mean, the best DPS, not the best purple unit. So yeah, that's more or less it. If you already have White and Machiny, I wouldn't go for this guy because yes, he has higher ceiling, but I wouldn't bother pulling for him if you already have another DPS. Because at the end of the day, you cannot push unlimited deficit with this guy. It will still hit the ceiling sooner or later. So don't pull him if you have one of the other two options. It's just not that worth it. And yeah, just my opinion, but obviously if you like the guy, go for him. And yeah, that's more or less it. I think we can move on and talk about the skills now. So let's start with the passive. So the passive is a really important skill in his kit. He has the first part that is trying to bind him in a mono purple team, but I will say 4 purple and 1 outside of it is still okay. So for every purple ally, Helljoy is going to get an 80% attack increase and a 120% HP increase, and this buff cannot be removed. Now the HP increase is worthless, at least in Adventure, because it's still getting one-shotted. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. Survivability-wise, this guy really sucks. But the attack increase is definitely good. In Arena, also the HP part could be interesting to have. So I think Heljo is a pretty good Arena unit if you're interested in that. But yeah, other than this part, we can move on with the rest of the passive. He has what I was mentioning before, so the defense decrease and the swiftness decrease. Whenever he damages an enemy, he's going to apply a stack for a maximum of 5 stacks. The total defense decrease is 60%, and the total swiftness decrease is 40. Really good values, not insane. Like the defense should have been probably a bit higher, but definitely good stuff. And as a utility unit, it would still do okay. Then the last part of the passive is just a second life. The first time it takes fatal damage is going to be invincible for 3 seconds, remove all debuffs and go back to full HP. And then he's going to lose 5% of his max HP every second until he's dying. This drain HP is not really that important. I mean, he's still going to survive forever. Basically, he has HP recovery in his kit, so it doesn't really matter. He's going to die anyway for one shots from enemies, not from the HP drain. So whatever. And we have then the Revolution 4, which is just a longer duration on the debuff. Before it was 8 seconds. With the Revolution 4, it gets to 12. Fine, but I would say even at 8 seconds, it didn't really change much. And when the enemies have full stacks of this debuff, Helljoy is also going to ignore 40% of the physical resistance of the target. It's just a nice 40% physical pierce, but is not too relevant. Then we have the first active skill. This one is actually really good, but the duration is so short, it makes it basically worthless. And I don't like it. Like, it's really stupid because this one is has an amazing effect, but 5-second duration on an active skill is trash. Obviously, if you run Outbuilder Revolution 5, then that's a different thing. And that's probably the recommended setup if you want to run this guy at super high deficit. You definitely want to go with Albelda. Albelda is going to reset the cooldown of the skill and make it up basically 100% of the time. Pretty good. And what this skill does is in an AoE is going to block HP recovery and decrease swiftness by an additional 60. And the AoE, I would say, is around the area of the Kunagero special move. So it's not really going to hit all of them unless you group them up, but it's still a decent size special move. Sorry, area of effect. I don't know why I mentioned special move already, but okay. Then we have the second active skill. This is a simple beam that is going to deal damage and knock enemy back for 4 seconds. This duration is not bad at all. And if you are above 50% HP, then it's going to consume 5% of your max HP to deal additional damage, basically doubling the coefficient. Pretty nice. And if you are below 50%, you're going to recover HP based on the damage dealt. Pretty simple, nothing too insane. The damage is okay, but not comparable to the special move. So it's just whatever, I would say. Then we have the special move, super important skill. It's going to teleport Helljo in the middle of the enemy team where there are the most enemies. And then it's going to deal 600% attack as damage 6 times. That's really, really strong. And then it's going to deal 1200% attack as damage as an additional last hit. And the final explosion is also going to have the attack efficiency increased by 24% for every 1% of the target HP currently lost. So if your initial hits did some damage and the enemies are around, let's say, 50% of their HP, then this one is going to be an additional 1200% coefficient. Really nice. Obviously, it's never going to be the whole 2400% because that would mean the enemies are already dead. So no, but definitely a nice and relevant increase. And all the damage dealt by this skill, well, not all of it, but 70% of the damage dealt by this skill is going to be converted in HP, which is a lot of lifesteal. So really good. Revolution 5 is really strong because it's going to make this skill always land, especially important if you are in the highest floors and you're facing Hockney. Hockney increases evasion of the enemies, and this will make it so you're going to hit him anyway. So really good stuff. And then we also have a survivability portion, which is kinda meh. Is just going to not allow him to go below 1. I would have preferred if it was straight up invincibility, but no. You're going to take damage and go to like as low as 1 HP. And then if you already proc the passive, when you go back out of your special move, if you didn't heal up, you're going to die, which is weird. I don't really like him survivability wise. This 1 HP thing is not really that great from my point of view. Should have been invincibility, but it is what it is, guys. And then we have the special move Pierce increased by 40%, that coupled with the 60% from the subnodes is a 100% special move Pierce, effectively doubling the damage of the special move. So really good stuff. I would say this Revolution 5 is pretty important, especially if you want to push higher deficits, because otherwise a 3 red Helljo is going to die as soon as he teleports, which is a stupid design if you ask me, but okay. And yeah, that's all kit-wise and also in terms of the Revolution upgrades. But let's have a look at Revolution itself and also mention the subnodes. So for the subnodes, there isn't a lot that is mandatory other than, well, the usual accuracy, swiftness is really important, crit rate is really important, attack, crit damage, special move. So yeah, as you could see, I was capping before. There is a lot of stuff that is mandatory here. The max cooldown reduction, definitely not. I tried to upgrade it to see if there was any difference. It is just as shitty as before. The uptime on the AoE HP recovery block is still not good enough, so I wouldn't invest in max cooldown reduction. But all the other nodes, except for HP, which could still be useful in arena, but not in this case, all the other nodes are pretty important. Effect hit, not really. It's just okay for applying the debuff and for the knockback, but is not really that mandatory. It's kind of up to you guys. It's pretty cheap and it's going to give you evasion, so you might as well do it. I'm doing the first 2 nodes on every single SSR plus that is not a collab just because of the archive. But if you don't have the orange mats, you shouldn't do the same. Just make sure you have higher effect hit than the enemy effect resistance, and you're good. You don't need to overkill it. And yeah, that's all also for Revolution. Let's move on to the exclusive equipment. So for exclusive equipment, he has some good stuff in here. We have the lifesteal, which is decent because he loses HP after he procs the passive. So I guess it's fine to have it in this case. Then we have the level 1 that is going to increase the weak beam attack efficient from 1000 to 1500. Then you add the 1000 if you are above 50% HP. Is a decent multiplier, but not insane. Then we have the level 2. This is going to increase the physical pierce of just the weak beam, which is again kind of disappointing. And then we have the level 3, which is going to increase the physical pierce of the special move. Decent, but still 20% is a bit low. I would have preferred something to do with survivability in his case, but whatever. And then level 4, this is actually pretty solid. So whenever you proc the passive, so you basically die, you're going to recover also 1000 energy, guaranteeing at least one special move. So that's good. But overall, the exclusive equipment is nothing insane. It's just below average, if you ask me. Nothing really that crazy. Then the next point is just the gear. For him, I would say you just need the crit rate and crit damage. And after that's done, you just go for accuracy if you need the extra accuracy. And that's it. You don't need resistances because I wouldn't go resistance build on this guy. Unless you don't have him Revolution 5 and you want to go for just the utility. And then, okay, sure, fine, do it. But otherwise, if you're going for a main DPS Eljo, this slot here is absolutely unnecessary. And yeah, that's it for the gear as well. Let's go over the ignition weapon. And for ignition weapon, you don't really have a lot of great options. Barry would be excluded from my point of view because he's going to cast the special move super quickly and he's going to go below the 25% HP immediately, but is not dying because of it. So Barry is basically wasted. I'd rather have more damage coming from Alucard, even though the damage increase is kind of minimal, but the increase in evasion will boost his ability a tiny little bit. Also, you could run Rafflesia if you want to. Not really a huge fan of that. You could run Idea. I think Idea is pretty solid, but not many people will have that because that secret floor is really trash. So it's difficult for people to have an Idea set farmed up, but it's definitely an option. And yeah, there isn't a really insane set for him. So I'm running Alokaze. I think Alokaze is perfectly fine. And the other options are just whatever. Really, there is no better option. So just go for whichever set gives you the most damage. In terms of actual stats, I would say you can go crit damage in the slot 4. Or if you want, for some reason, you could go effect resistance, but it's not really too important in his case. I'd say just go full damage. Then we have the slot 5 physical pierce, and then again just crit stats as much as you can. You don't have to go with any resistances, just go pure damage and you'll be fine. And yeah, that's all for the ignition weapon. For the report, it's going to be fairly quick because this guy is a DPS. You definitely want the extra accuracy. And yeah, there's nothing much to it. I should really stop talking about report. It makes little to no sense. And yeah, next we have the team recommendations. So let's just move on and go. Where is it? Here. And let's add Heljo. So the first option would be in case of a normal and mono purple team, you will have to go with something like Reflejo Hanna. They're always really solid. You go, where's that? Yura. And in the last slot, you have a few options, but I would say David would be one of the better ones because he's going to increase the attack coefficient of all the skills of Eljo. And he has multi-hits on the special move, which means a lot more damage. He's also going to increase the attack during the special move, which again is a lot more damage. Physical pierce, lots of energy, really good combination. I would say that the energy part, though, is a bit troll because this guy is going to teleport in the enemy team. And if David's passive procs at that time, is going to lose out on the energy. So that's a bit stupid, but it is what it is, I guess. So this combination would be really solid. If you don't have David, you can go obviously in array, still fine. If the enemies can be CC'd, you can leverage that and go for a Kunagero. Definitely good as well. And well, like purple really has a lot of good options. You could also go for a Varagarv, but since this guy already has HP recovery block in his kit, although unreliable, you don't really have to go for Varagarv, but you can if you want to. So yeah, this would be sort of the team I would recommend most of the time. If you're running another purple team, you cannot spare a Yura for some reason, you're running her with your Mashani, then again, you can remove her and use Nare instead. Nare is also going to work fairly well with Aljo because Aljo most of the times is going to be the lowest HP and she's going to cast the special move on him, which is fine. So that's also perfectly doable. Now, what you can do as well would be to go with a setup like this one, maybe, and run Albelda here. Now we could also remove David and go for Yura for some extra survivability and also energy because Yura also gives a lot of energy. And this could be a pretty common setup. Now, why I never removed Anna and well, Reflejo, you can remove it for Vargav or even Karaka if you want to. But Anna is really important for the grouping. She's going to group the enemy at the start of the battle, and then Reflejo is going to keep them stunned, and they will be all together. So this guy, active skill that blocks the HP recovery, and his special move is going to hit the whole enemy team, which is going to be a shit ton of damage. So Anna is one of the few must-have units. You could replace her with an Endorsey. She doesn't need to be duped up, just a 0 dupes Endorsey will be okay. She's going to group as well. Not as well as Anna, but definitely okay grouping. And it's definitely an option. And yeah, this is more or less what I would recommend on this guy. Now, if you don't run, for example, Albelda, because you're running her on somebody else, which is totally okay, you can also run the new guy here, Hockney. He's going to provide a lot of energy for Heljo. He's going to give him additional evasion, which could be enough to make him survive well enough. And he's also going to boost his damage quite a bit. You lose out on the 80% attack, but this guy is going to give him attack as well. So it's not a loss of any kind. So this is also a perfectly fine setup. I would say Caracas should be orange 4 if you want to use him. Otherwise, Reflejo is going to be better 99% of the times. And even if Caracas is orange 4, you would still want to run Reflejo instead. You could potentially run Caracas instead of the duo Anna and Reflejo because this guy has grouping on Revolution 4. And then you can free up the last slot for whatever you want. An array. You can, again, place a David too. So we have David here, for example, or maybe here. Kind of depends who you want to give energy to. I would probably not recommend placing him here in this kind of setup because Korak is going to walk a bit slowly and maybe the setup will be like this when the enemy team is going to crash on yours. And if there is a frontline unit here in this position, is going to go on your Yura, which is not something you want to see. Well, if you do something like this, then it is fine because this guy is going to dodge and these two are kind of protected by Karaka. So you can do something like this as well. But yeah, you get the idea. Normally would recommend going for 4 purple units and 1 off. And yeah, the options would be Hockney. You can go for Albelda, as I mentioned. You can go for Mamanak. You can go for a whole lot of different units, but make sure they give him some sort of attack increase, some sort of durability, some sort of energy. And yeah, that's more or less all I wanted to talk about for this guy. Let me know in the comments if you pulled for him, what do you think about him, and stuff like that. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.